I'm Hollis Taylor, and I identify as a trans man.
I'm a 40-year-old genderqueer trans man. I felt like the only part of me that was female was my body. My mind and my spirit were definitely male. And this is my story.
I don't take any synthetic hormones, and I don't have any plans to get any surgeries. This is my story. So, there I was, an adult in college. I was 30 years old, and I had a 10-year-old son.
I was part of Gay Straight Alliance, and I was listening to some trans people tell their stories. And the trans people that told their stories shared something that a lot of us hear about, feeling like your body doesn't match your mind or your soul or your emotions or what's inside. And so I could identify a lot with that.
And I understood that. I got it. So, I changed things. I ended a relationship with my husband, and I moved on and followed my desire to be with women.
But at the time, I was 30 years old, and I was a mother of a 10-year-old child, and I was a wife. And I was just, going back to school. So the more I explored, the more I decided I might be trans, but for sure I was attracted to women. So I left my husband, and then I went to therapy and, started doing a lot of work there. And one of the things that we addressed, of course, was my gender identity. And in that, we discovered that it wasn't right for me to necessarily have surgery or synthetic hormones, and that was okay, and I could still identify as a trans man that way.
I found Tristan's guy online and was inspired by his story and what he did and in his natural transition. So I went to the doctors to get checked out so that I could continue on a pretty vigorous exercise program. The doctor came to me and she told me that I was going to die if I didn't change now.
My weight at 260 pounds and just under 5 foot was too much, and that my blood sugar was not balanced, and that if I kept on this track, I'd be diabetic and I'd probably die from it and make myself pretty sick.
She said, if you don't change right now, you're gonna die. And that scared me, because I didn't want to die and I felt like I hadn't even lived my life. I had raised a child and I didn't even do the things that I wanted to do. He wasn't grown yet. So I started making some changes. First of all, I was a sex worker, and I learned that as a sex worker, that there was a lot of shame around gender and gender bending. I heard the shame in the voices come out of all the gender benders, cross-dressers, trans people out there. All the shame they carried, I heard it. I listened, and I identified with it, and I also felt shame. And I was inspired to find my way through this. So I began to change my diet, because that's what my doctor wanted me to do. And I found a really healthy diet. Used the suggestions from Tristan's guy about what foods can boost testosterone. And I also did exercise that helped change my body shape so that maybe I could appear more masculine. And I lost weight. And I did soul searching, and I did a lot of personal work inside to work on my shame and some other baggage I was carrying that I didn't really need, that was probably inspiring me to eat a lot of sugar. Over many years, I went from someone that was 260 pounds to 140 pounds. I'm only 5 foot. And I changed the way I viewed the world. I changed the way I felt inside. And I began to change the way my mind worked and my emotions, the way I handled my emotions. So, all of that change led me to a newfound place. And so in that newfound place, I found myself as a drag king. I mean, a real, honest-to-God drag king with, like, facial hair, and I passed. And people believed I was a man. They just thought I was. Not that I didn't believe I was, because my body then matched everything else. I became a drag king, and I loved it. And not only that, it gave me more exercise. I got to dance. And on top of that, it gave me a great way to express myself in a masculine way.
And so I'm also known as Izzy Ahee. And as Izzy, I found that I could express myself in the most masculine way I could. And in drag, they would just use male pronouns with me. I would present myself as masculine, and it seemed completely normal to them to use male pronouns. Finally, I had a community that understood that although I may have a female body, the rest of me was masculine.
Today, I know what it feels like to be passed as a woman and be treated as a woman in our world. And I also know what it feels like to be a man and to pass as a man in our world. And in that, I have learned that regardless of which side you're on, gender roles expect us to do things that may not suit us, that take away from who we really are. And I'd rather celebrate who we are.
Gender is beyond labels, and gender expression is only here to help others understand where we're coming from. But really, sex and gender are two different things. But I call myself genderqueer because I want people to understand that my gender is queer. It's unusual. It is not like everyone else's. And I also identify as a trans man in order to honor my journey that I took, because I'm no longer 260 pounds. I'm now 140 pounds.
And sometimes people still she me. And if they she me, I just say, hey, it's okay to she me now, but make sure you he me later. Okay?
You know, and people start to get it. People start to get that my gender expression is different than what's in between my legs or what's under my t-shirt. Today I'm an educator, not only as Izzy, but also in Diversity. It's an online publication for inclusive spirituality. Essentially, I look for spiritual expressions in people regardless of their gender or their gender expression. And that in me helps me express myself as a two-spirit or as a twin spirit.
I'm also educating about gender and helping people understand about genders, gender expression, sex, and what's the difference.